but right next to it, a small business burned earlier. And this woman here, Megan, she actually came up in tears. It was very emotional. And you told us that you used to shop right there.
Steve's Pet Store, it's gone. Foxes, gone. El Patron, gone. Everything in this neighborhood. Altadena is not existing right now. We are not. I don't know.
I'm so sorry. And you had really fond memories of Steve's Pet Store. You said you used to get all your pets there.
Guinea pigs, pet rats, everything. We love. We're the best little small business. Foxes. I worked there, through college. I sat in the back and ate muffins on the kitchen from the chef. It's our community's gone. This fire chooses no one's safe from this. So our home right now is okay, but we don't know. It can change overnight.
Saying that it is hard to feel relief or even joy at seeing your home standing when your neighbor's isn't.
Yeah, it's. I thank my blessings. I'm grateful for what we have, but to see 5, 6, 8, 10 houses in our neighborhood just gone like that, and we've been here this morning since 8 a.m. fighting them ourselves, doing the water support, doing water, pizza. We just did a pizza run. Our community is still Altadena. We are still Altadena. We're coming together. We'll get through this together. Altadena strong.
So you said you were fighting the fire yourself?
With waters, with our hose is what we could. Keep our grass wet, our roofs wet, just ivy wet, everything moisture. Just adding the moisture. So if it spread, that we wouldn't get it. But, like I said, it's working for us, but for some it did not work.
And you said that you feel that this community's really been altered. It's just not going to be the same after this.
I don't know. We don't know how long we're going to be without power, electricity, water. We have no water. Everything's shut off right now. We don't know. We don't know when this is going to happen for us, but it is January, so let's hope for a miracle in the next couple months.
Well, thank you so much, Megan. And we've talked about how this is all a very close-knit community and how all this also hits close to home for people at Fox 11. And Megan told me that she used to be an intern at Fox 11 when Rick Garcia was in charge of sports. Yeah, so, again, even in a place as large as the greater Los Angeles area, we still have connections to one another.
Yep.
And we also grieve for one another. So thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Take care. And I want to show you, if we can pan this way, because as we were watching this B of A burn, looks like another house here on Beverly Way also caught fire. So it is heartbreaking to watch. The people are losing their livelihoods and continue to lose their homes even on day 2 of the Eaton fire. And you're seeing, probably can make out some of the very large flames there. And that also, as long as that is burning, it's going to pose a threat to other nearby homes. So as you heard Megan say, her house is standing, but she still worries that might not be the case when all of this is over. So right now, still very anxious and tense time for people in this community, even those who are lucky enough to see their homes survive. Let's send it back to you.
Christy Fajardo, man, I think if everybody has their story, and so many dramatic stories out there. Thank you for that.
Live look of the Palisades plume, the Palisades fire plume, which has looked worse before, I'll say that, but this is just one of the many angles that we've shown you. And, we've had our reporters on the ground. As it relates to the Eaton fire, those reporters say that the winds are better than they were last night, and that's true by just seeing their live reports. But the Palisades fire, Matthew Seedorf was comparing them to yesterday and basically said that they're comparable.
So here's what we're awaiting at this point. We hope to have an interview momentarily with Nathan Hochman, the LA County District Attorney. We also are awaiting a press conference from LA Mayor Karen Bass. That could start any moment now. As we try to get Nathan Hochman set up, we want to bring in Ed Laskos into our conversation. Ed was on the air with us very, very late into the night and into the early morning, now joining our coverage here at 5 o'clock. Ed, where are you and what are you seeing?
Well, I wish I could tell you that since the early morning hours, the Palisades fires lay down, but no, it is still roaring out of control right along PCH, just on this side, the south side of the Getty Villa, so we'll call up Malibu and have a look. The latest part of the fire here, roaring right through those homes, the cliffside homes here, with their beautiful views of the ocean itself now gone. Sparks came down, the flaming embers lit those homes on fire, spreading down the hillside. That large apartment condo building to the left of those flames, that's been threatened up there, we're told, by some of the firefighters, and the home is right below it that did not burn. As Mikey pans a little further over to the left, you can see this is the devastation from when the fire first ripped down here in the early morning hours. The out-of-control monster burning all the way down the PCH. Those homes never stood a chance. Over here on PCH, the fire actually jumped across the roadway. That's Torrance fire set up there, but look along the shoulder. See that's part of what's left of one of the utility poles here, still smoldering, still burning from that fire that ripped through here several hours ago. Want a quick spin around this way, the ocean. Sunset we just missed. As you can imagine, it's extremely colorful with all the smoke in the air. But look, all the way down, further part of Malibu, sort of near Point Dune, big plumes of black smoke there. So it's like we always say, and we've been saying the last several hours, everywhere you look, it seems here in the Palisades, Malibu area, there is fire. But that's the latest one up there. Look at all that thick black smoke, acrid smoke pouring out of their columns of smoke. Some homes on the other side of that, beautiful homes. They are now the latest victims of this out-of-control fire, and the homes down on the bottom. As the winds pick up, I heard you talking a couple of minutes ago about the winds, not as sustained as strong as they were yesterday at this time, but you get the gusts as we're getting now, swirling through, and look at the effect it has on those flames up there and the columns of black smoke coming through. So again, this is PCH, just south of the Getty Villa, Malibu near the Malibu Vista area, just north of Sunset, and PCH, where Gladstone's used to be, also burned in that area as well. And the latest part of this fire roaring down. Torrance fire is over here. There are no engines over here. Well, as I speak, there goes an engine from the Orange County Fire Authority here on mutual aid to help. But as we look at these, we continue to see no water. No water at all, nothing being applied to the fire or anything like that. No fire suppression, at least I've seen in the last hour or so back here in the Palisades. Back to West LA we go.
We know Gladstone's is no longer a business. They're moving that. Is Gladstone's a total loss? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're right. It closed, about a year or so ago. But yeah, it took it. That intersection itself looks like a bomb here, right? That Sunset when you come down and run right into PCH.
Yeah, because Gigi Graciette was live in front of Gladstone's today, and there were firefighters. The flames had just got there, and the firefighters were there too, trying to douse those flames. So obviously they couldn't save it, and now that it has been leveled. We also got word that Moon Shadows, another popular restaurant along PCH, has also been lost in the Palisades fire.
And that may be some of that big dark smoke that we were seeing right up further north along PCH. We actually can see some plumes now of flames all the way up there looking further north on PCH. Mike, you'll give you a quick look around there. That's all the way up Malibu area.
Ed, we're going to cut you off, and we're going to take you to the Emergency Operations Center. This is Zach Seidel, who is the deputy mayor in charge of communications. You see right there, Mayor Karen Bass. You see the supervisor, Lindsay Horvath, Catherine Barger, the sheriff, Robert Luna, the chief, Jim McDonnell. And so let's listen in as we now hear for the first time from Mayor Bass, in her own words, back from her diplomatic trip to Ghana for the inauguration of the Ghanaian president. This will be her first in-person press conference since the fire broke out. Let's listen.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I stand here today with incredible sympathy and concern about the devastation and the tragedy that our city and county are facing. And I definitely want to send my condolences to the families who lost loved ones, to the families and neighborhoods who lost property. This firestorm is the big one in magnitude. Hurricane force winds are usually accompanied by rainstorms, but these are hurricane force winds that are combined with extremely dry drought conditions. To provide context, at 10:20 a.m. yesterday, the Palisades fire was at 10 acres. 12 minutes later, it was at 200 acres. To those who fled their homes, especially those who have lost your homes, our hearts are breaking for you, and we stand with you. I know the world is looking at images of our city's devastation. I have seen the front lines of the Palisades fire, and it is staggering. I've been in constant contact with our fire commanders, with county, state, and federal officials. I took the fastest route back, which included being on a military plane, which facilitated our communications. So I was able to be on the phone the entire time of the flight. We are fighting for you and everyone in Los Angeles. Thank you to our first responders who waded in the flames, pulled people from cars, and got them to safety no matter how dangerous. And thank you to everyone who heeded our warnings to evacuate. Tonight, more people may get evacuation orders, and if they do, please leave immediately. If you have an evacuation warning, get ready to go. Protect yourself and each other, and support our firefighters on the front lines. Our strategy included preparations and pre-deployment, and it now includes fire crews from around the state and from our federal partners. We are also adapting in real time. These winds continue to blow. So let me be clear. I am making sure that we leave no resource untapped. Firefighters are now on scene from across the state and across the country. I spoke with President Biden today and Governor Newsom earlier today, and they assured me of full federal and state support. As we head into tonight, we are still facing strong and erratic winds. In Palisades and in Sylmar, we are very much in an active firefight. I can report to you that the Woodley fire, however, in the Sepulveda Basin is under control. I can also report that finally air operations have resumed, and that is a big deal, but it is up to the winds as to how long the air support can continue. But these conditions are highly volatile. We've seen a devastating fire in the Pasadena area. Fires have sparked up in Simi Valley and on the LA and Ventura County line. And as our firefighters do battle on the front lines, all of us must be vigilant. So if you receive an evacuation order, please leave immediately. If you receive a warning, get ready. Protect yourself and protect each other. And don't divert firefighters from our strategy. Signals are out and the roads have debris. So stay off the roads unless you are evacuating or have another emergency. Be prepared, food, water, medicine, a bag packed and ready. Again, this is an active situation. And conserve water to the extent that you can. We want to make sure that we are ready if we need more water. But make no mistake, Los Angeles will rebuild stronger than ever. Right now, if you need help, emergency information, resources, and shelter is available. All of this can be found at URL. Los Angeles, together is how we will get through this. Through the heroism of our firefighters, the vigilance of Angelenos, and the spirit of our city. This is a big moment. It is a big moment for all of us to come together, for Angelenos to be united, for Angelenos to be prepared to help each other. This is who we are. LA will rise, and make no mistake, I am confident that we will rebuild. And with that, I would like to introduce LA County Board of Supervisor Chair, Catherine Barker.
But we're not out of this yet.
Thank you, Mayor, and I want to thank you for your leadership. I know when this first hit, we were in constant contact, so thank you for being a true leader to this great city of Los Angeles. Obviously, as someone who represents the 5th District, we are prone to wildfires, but nothing like what I witnessed today. The Eaton Canyon fire is ripping through a community like I have never seen. It is like a third world country out there. I would ask anyone listening, if you do not need to be in the area and you've been evacuated, please heed the evacuation warning. And if you don't live in the area, please stay away.
This is the Sunset Mesa community.
I was shocked to see people walking around that don't live up there. They're just taking a look at what's going on. We have firefighter and first responders that are trying to do their job, and it's important for us to all support them and make sure that we provide space so that they can get it done. The county has lost many facilities. Our parks, our Eaton Canyon Nature Center, our senior center. I'm sure the sheriff will talk about the fact that we almost lost our sheriff's station, but it's been evacuated.
The chief has developed a plan for safe
we are going to rebuild.
Our young people's safety
and when
my top priority.
we met with the governor and the president,
today we also received
the resources and the promises have been made, and it's going to be our job to deliver. And I am confident, given the resiliency of this great county, working with all of our partners, we will rebuild. And to my friends out there that I have talked to today that have lost their homes up in Eaton Canyon, I am a phone call away, and you are not alone. And to those of you that have lost homes, please reach out for help. You are not alone. It's important for us to recognize that these people have lost everything. In many cases, their entire life savings. So as we move forward, we're going to make sure the Department of Mental Health has resources on the ground. But if you need someone to talk to, reach out. Reach out. Love thy neighbor. So with that, I would like to invite Supervisor Lindsay Horvath up, my colleague who represents the 3rd District Palisades Fire.
Thank you very much. Earlier today, I visited the Westwood Recreation Center, where I was able to listen, to grieve, and to be with evacuees in this time of crisis, to also thank the volunteers, but most importantly, to let each person know in this time of crisis that they're not alone. To everyone feeling the anguish of this tragedy, the county will be here for you no matter what as we recover from these fires. But we're not out of this yet, and we need to continue to follow all guidance from our emergency personnel. I want to thank you for evacuating, for letting our first responders do their job, and for keeping your loved ones safe. Here are the updates from the 3rd District. Since our last press conference, evacuation orders have expanded into Santa Monica to San Vicente, and evacuation warnings now include Montana to Wilshire, Ocean to 11th. Gas shutoffs are affecting more than 15,000 people in Malibu, from Brentwood Country Club to Pepperdine. A boil water advisory is now in effect for LA County Water Works District 29. This is the Sunset Mesa community, from Topanga Beach and Coastline Drive on the south to Shore Heights Drive on the north, and from Topanga Canyon Road to Carbon Canyon Road in Malibu, including communities of Big Rock and Carbon Mesa. For more information about water, you can call 800-675-4357. Barry J. Nydorf Juvenile Hall remains in an evacuation warning area. Should the warning become an order, the chief has developed a plan for safe evacuation. Our young people's safety remains my top priority. Today, we also received agreement from the President of the United States to approve a major disaster declaration, which will include individual assistance and public assistance programs. President Biden, we are so grateful. Additionally, our County Department of Mental Health is activated. For mental health resources, you can call the helpline at 800-854-7771 for 24/7 support and mental health resources. We know this is a traumatic time. Please ask for help. The county has also invested additional funding into our 211 system to increase capacity. LASA has activated the Augmented Winter Shelter Program to provide shelter to our unhoused community during this time. LA County Assessor Jeffrey Prang has shared property tax installment deferral applications, misfortune calamity damage reassessment applications, and a disaster relief FAQ for property owners affected by the fires. You can go to assessor.lacounty.gov. The Emergency Network LA is coordinating volunteers. To sign up, go to enla.org. In addition, the American Red Cross and LA Food Bank have all set up specific donation websites that you can access at emergency.lacounty.gov. Downed trees and power lines are impacting public transit service, and I want to thank Chair of our Metro Board, Supervisor Janice Hahn, for her speed and waiving Metro fares on today because of station power outages. But please, if you are in a safe place and you don't need to travel, stay put and stay safe. For those evacuating, Uber is providing rides for free up to $40 to get to active shelters. This includes Pasadena Civic Auditorium, Westwood Recreation Center, El Camino Real Charter, Richie Valens Rec Center, and you can use the promo code WILDFIRE25. Tonight, the winds will remain strong, but our resolve is stronger. This emergency will continue. Let's keep each other safe, heed emergency instruction, and pray for the success of our frontline and first responders. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce LA City Fire Chief Kristen Crowley.
Good evening, everyone. As Southern California is continuing to endure some of the most historic fire conditions on record, extreme fire weather driven by strong and erratic winds and low humidity have ignited multiple fires across our region. The LAFD is fully committed to continuously monitoring and adapting to the evolving nature of this weather event and stands ready to respond to any additional incidents that may arise. Now, how did we prepare? We prepared in many, many ways, but I want to focus on two main things. We augmented our staffing levels and strategically pre-deployed our additional resources. In addition, we have recalled off-duty LAFD firefighters to augment our response across the entire city. I'll be providing a brief on a few of the incidents within the city. As we know, the Palisades fire continues to demand significant local, regional, state, and federal resources. Currently, the fire is over 15,800 acres and is growing, with 1,792 personnel who are currently assigned. And as we know, I want to be very, very clear that this incident is very, very dynamic as we speak. The good news, the winds have subsided a bit, enough to allow our fixed wing and rotor wing aircraft to provide critical air support to this fire. Next up is the Hearst fire. The Hearst fire has grown to over 700 acres with 260 personnel assigned to this specific incident. There are evacuation orders in place with multiple structures that are threatened. We continue to focus on fire and life safety. The Woodley incident. It is controlled and approximately has burned 30 acres. I want to clarify a little something before Chief Maroney comes up. The Eaton fire, we are closely monitoring this specific fire. It is in the county, and we are absolutely paying very, very close attention to see how else we can assist. If it does come into the city, we are ready. Now, in addition to the large-scale brush fires in the past 24 hours, the LAFD has responded to an additional 3,950 911 calls for service within the city. This also includes 10 structure fires. We have treated and transported an extensive number of medical emergencies throughout the city. Now, the LAFD also continues to assess and allocate resources to ensure timely and effective responses across the entire city. As the situation evolves, the LAFD remains steadfast in its mission, working closely with our local, state, and federal partners to mitigate the impacts of this unprecedented fire condition. Also, I want to talk about a few of the challenges and adaptations. Multiple incidents throughout this region. We are going to talk about all of these fires within Southern California. We're utilizing mutual aid partners from across the region, state, and adjoining states, and firefighters are surging into Southern California as we speak. Also, the challenges with water pressure in the Palisades. Standard firefighting adaptations for water. What we do when water is limited. We have the ability to pull water from ponds. We can pull water from pools. We're utilizing as many water tenders that we have, and we're working very, very closely with DWP on this. Next, we will continue to focus. I want to make very, very clear, saving lives first, evacuations, and rescues. We are not out of danger. You can see the active fires that are burning. With strong winds that are going to continue throughout the night, I can tell you and assure you that firefighters and first responders remain focused on protecting lives and property. We urge the public to help us by doing the following. Stay informed through trusted news and official updates. Be prepared to evacuate if you live near wildland areas. Follow all evacuation warnings and orders without delay. We also ask the public to stay off the roadways and away from any of the impacted areas. Now, the LAFD and other partners, we're working so closely together. We are absolutely united in our top priority, and that is saving lives. Ensuring that the safe evacuation and rescue of our residents in harm's way remains our absolute top priority and our focus during this wind-driven fire. Thank you, Mayor Bass, the elected leaders who are here, and for all and every single firefighter, first responder, boots on the ground that are doing the work. Together we can continue to protect our communities and keep everybody safe. Next, I'd like to go ahead and introduce the fire chief from Los Angeles County, which is Anthony Maroney. Together we can continue to protect our communities.
So good evening. Thank you for the comprehensive update, Chief Crowley. My name is Anthony Maroney. I'm the County of Los Angeles Fire Chief, and I'm going to give an LA County update in addition to a Region 1 update. For the Eaton Fire in Los Angeles County, Altadena, Pasadena, and Sierra Madre, the LA County Fire Department continues to be in unified command with the U.S. Forest Service and the Pasadena and Sierra Madre Fire Departments, in addition to our law enforcement partners. The fire has been mapped this afternoon at 10,600 acres, and it is still growing. We have 0% containment. We have over 750 firefighting personnel assigned on the line, and mutual aid resources from out of state, including Arizona, have arrived to assist us with this firefight. Unfortunately, we have 5 reported civilian fatalities, a number of injuries, and over 1,000 structures damaged or destroyed. The cause of the fire is unknown and under active investigation by both the Los Angeles County Fire Department, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, and the U.S. Forest Service arson investigators. And the moment we learn the cause of this fire, we will advise the media. We also have a new fire start in the Acton area of Los Angeles County, the Lydia Fire, estimated to be between 80 and 100 acres, 30% contained, and thankfully, forward progress has been stopped. As the Region 1 coordinator, I did request mutual aid from the 5 counties of Los Angeles, Orange County, Ventura, Santa Barbara, and San Luis Obispo counties yesterday. Additionally, last night, I contacted the State Office of Emergency Services and requested 250 additional engine companies from Northern California, staffed with over 1,000 personnel. At this time, the state of California is exercising their emergency compacts with the western states of Arizona, Nevada, Utah, Oregon, and Washington for additional firefighting resources and personnel to come to Los Angeles County to assist us with this widespread fire emergency. One data point is that we have 60 units responding from Oregon, 45 units responding from Washington, 10 units responding from New Mexico, 15 units responding from Utah, and numerous units responding from Arizona. Currently, the National Weather Service has predicted that this red flag warning will remain in effect for Los Angeles County and much of Ventura County through Friday. Thank you, and I would now like to invite up to the podium Los Angeles Police Chief Jim McDonald.
Thank you very much, Chief. I just want to say a few things and not to repeat what has already been said any more than needs to be stressed, but a sincere thank you to everybody who's out there in the impacted area for your patience and your support, to our first responders and support departments who have been out there from the very beginning doing the very best they can to protect everybody. The word resilience was used, and that's what it's going to be. We're going to be an example of resilience in the very best sense of the word. We're going to bounce back from this, and it's going to be a challenging week ahead, but we're going to be able to get through it by working together. These have been unprecedented conditions, as you've heard over and over again, and the fire has been very unpredictable. That is why the need for vigilance is I can't stress enough how much we got to pay attention to our neighbors, to our own yards and property, and be able to catch something quickly if we get something sparking off. I think that is critical. This is not over, long from over. Our job primarily is to assist in a support capacity our fire partners with evacuation, with traffic control, and with crime suppression. And on the crime suppression front, you've heard also about the potential for looting, people going in and taking advantage of the worst possible circumstances to be able
Division
to
Papa, 9240 Charlie on command.
That will not be tolerated at all, and my ask is that everybody stay out of the impacted areas unless you live there, unless you have a real reason to be there. Our officers will be out there. They'll be watching for this, and we're taking this very, very seriously.
Division Papa, 9240 Charlie, trying to raise you on Jack, must be out of the area.
To our media partners,
is there a way we can meet up with you face to face?
Able to do to get the message out there and keep people safe. It's now my honor to introduce Los Angeles County Sheriff Robert Luna.
Unit calling Division Papa is extremely unreadable, very scratchy.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you all for covering this very important story. So as I stand here before you with my
Division Papa, 9240 Charlie, looking to meet up with you.
Several hundred LA County deputy sheriffs along with other police officers who are working all the impacted areas out there. They're involved in evacuations, they're involved in traffic control, ingress and egress into the area. They're involved in security, which the chief talked about, and I talked about it earlier. We're up to 3 arrests with looting. That is 100% unacceptable. I'm going to repeat it. If you do not belong in these areas, do not go there. We have additional people that we've brought in just to make sure that people's property are left alone. These people have gone through so much. Don't put them through more than they have to go through. And then we're on humanitarian missions. I have deputies dropping off food, blankets, and other things to people who have either been evacuated or who just need somebody to talk to and frankly just give a hug to. Those are the kind of things that we're doing out there. I do want to talk about evacuations. Regarding the Eaton fire, we have over 70,000 of our community members who have been impacted by either evacuation orders and or warnings. The Palisades fire, approximately 60,000 who have been impacted by evacuation orders or warnings. As I said earlier, we have called in additional resources, not only for what's in front of us, but looking around the corner, what's next. Both fire chiefs have made it very clear we are not out of danger. There's a lot of work to be done. For me, in my other role as mutual aid coordinator, just to give you an example, as we are not only calling in our resources, we check with other departments, both in the county and outside the county, and we've provided Pasadena Police Department with additional resources, one from the Long Beach Police Department in a mutual aid capacity, and from the Orange County Sheriff's Department. So I'd like to thank those two departments, and that's something we do in law enforcement. Santa Monica's asked for help last night, and we also coordinate and helping with that as well. Chief Maroney mentioned it. Unfortunately, we do have 5 fatalities, and we're praying that number doesn't increase, but there's a lot of work to do, and we'll see what happens there. We are up to 3 looting arrests as we speak. And then the last thing I'd like to leave you with again is earlier I spoke about evacuation warnings, evacuation orders, and a lot of road closures that are taking place in both of these locations. I'm not going to go through them all, but I encourage our community members to go to lacounty.gov/emergency, where you will get updates on those orders, warnings, and road closures. And again, I am really proud of our community overall. Sometimes we talk about the looting and people who aren't listening. I'm going to tell you, 99% of the people are listening, and I think that's why hopefully the injuries and fatalities and all those ugly things will stay down. So thank you to our LA County residents for working with us in partnership. And now I'd like to introduce LADWP General Manager Janice Quiñones.
Thank you and good evening. I'm Janice Quiñones, CEO and Chief Engineer of LADWP. In preparation for the visitation, the windstorm, LADWP activated its emergency preparation plans and filled all 114 available water reservoirs and storage facilities throughout the city, including the 3 1-million-gallon tanks.
Yeah, we do have a fire here at the church side of the school. We're just trying to make access to see if it's just exterior or if it's interior fire.
We're working very closely and side by side with LA
Okay,
Fire
2802, that sounds good. You're on command. If you could take your traffic to TAC.
I want to be very clear that the water continues to flow in the Palisades area through our main system. We haven't had any disruption into the water system, but because the winds were severely limited, the air operations, the number of fire hoses connected to the fire hydrants depleted our tanks in the area, specifically in higher elevations. We immediately implemented our contingency plans to provide water trucks to support our firefighters, and our crews are working on how to refill those tanks during this very moment. Conditions for our crew are very hazardous, so we ask for your patience. We have deployed 19 water tankers to continue to provide water to fire departments on their firefighting efforts, and our engineers continue to look at other options to connect our systems and fill those water tanks faster. We're also asking our customers on the west side to conserve water to make sure that we have water available and ready as the winds and the dry conditions continue. And in the Palisade area, because of the fire conditions, there is a boil water notice in effect for SIC code 90272, and the area north of San Vicente Boulevard and to the south. It's not citywide. Again, it's 90272 SIC code. If you want more information about the boil notices, go to ladwp.com for details. In terms of the power restoration efforts, LADWP has requested mutual assistance from Pacific Gas and Electric, and we're also working very closely with Southern California Edison to support each other while we restore power as quickly and safely as possible. As of 5 p.m. today, we have restored power to over 133,000 customers, and we have about 123 customers still out of power. We have 50 customers that have been out of power for more than 18 hours, and we're prioritizing those outages. Based on our current conditions and for the safety of our crews, if your power is out, you should plan for at least 24 hours before our crews can respond to make repairs. If you see a wire down, call 911 or report that to LADWP. Our number is 1-800-DIAL-DWP. Some areas, specifically those in fire areas, will take longer because we got to get clearance from the fire department to come and make repairs. I want to thank PG&E again at Southern California Edison and the Metropolitan Water District for their support in this response. And now I want to introduce
LA from Palisades
We're going
Communications.
to break into this for a second with some breaking news. We've got a new fire.
Palisades
So you're
Communications.
looking at the
Go
top
ahead.
left of your screen, now full screen. This is the Hollywood Hills. 2300 block of Solar Drive, Astral Drive is where this fire began, beginning at 10 acres.
Palisades
We're near the
Communications,
Hollywood
LA copies,
sign.
B1
Not far
loudspeaker.
from
Loud and
Griffith
clear.
Park, all the rest of that. And we see a fire just ripping right now at night. They are requesting more helicopters, more water drops. We see one helicopter there, but this is one of those iconic spots near Hollywood, near West
Metro,
Hollywood,
Palisades Communications.
that people look around the world and think of Hollywood. This is the Hollywood sign. So you don't
Palisades
see,
Communications,
see
go
from
ahead.
there. And that is now a new fire that we're
Com check
battling
with
right
Palisades
now.
Again,
Communications.
this all ignited on the 2300 block of Solar Drive at Astral Drive. We've seen the aircraft out there, which is
Palisades
always
Communications,
good
loud
to
and clear,
see,
loud and clear.
especially when a fire just breaks out. Reported
Palisades
at 10
Communications,
acres.
LA copies,
We
loud
know
and clear as
how
well.
quickly things can get out of control, as evidenced by all the fires that we've been reporting. So here's this chopper that's flying in there and literally into the flames and into the smoke. Well, there's that water drop. So they are requesting more water drops, of course, to try to get a handle on this. I know that we've heard from some people on social media. You know, we can see the flames from the Runyon Canyon area. My home is in danger, etc. We have not heard about evacuations yet, but those could be coming. Obviously, we know the mayor, Karen Bash, she's in the midst of a press conference right now, and with her, LA County Fire Chief and also LA City Fire Chief, all of the fire officials who would be involved in this, they are literally at a press conference right now talking about the Palisades fire, the Eaton fire, and the Hearst fire.
And so hopefully, you know, we can go back to this when they start to answer some of the questions, but just FYI, I mean, the good news on this fire so far is we don't know of any structures burned with this one, but we know that is a very busy area with a lot of homes nearby. So that is a scary sight that we're looking at. Let's go back to this press conference. Alberto, do you have new information here?
This may not be
From
surprising,
LA
but yes,
County
the
Patrol
superintendent
69.
of LAUSD at the podium, Alberto Carvalho.
Operations
All
good.
LAUSD schools will be closed tomorrow. Let's go ahead.
Oh, the whole district?
Yeah, the whole district.
That's big news. Okay, let's listen in.
Early tomorrow morning. For information about school closures and the location of the grab-and-go locations, please visit www.
LA County Patrol 69, go ahead for operations.
You will also find resources of support for our
Patrol
workforce and
69.
our students.
What division is responsible for Topanga Canyon Boulevard?
100% of our students to a continuity of learning model with virtual resources available for all of them. Sometime around 4 p.m.
From the
tomorrow,
PCH
we
side?
will make a decision after consultation with leaders, as well as a
A
careful
firm.
examination
Topanga Canyon
of the
Boulevard,
trends as we observe
basically
them
South
about
Topanga
what
Canyon Boulevard.
Friday
So, yes,
will be
PCH
like.
side.
I want to close by once again thanking our parents for their resilience.
Right at the county line at Coastline is going to be branch 5, just to the west of that will be branch 7, Division Papa.
In very, very difficult
Branch
circumstances.
7, Division
I will add
Bravo
that,
copy,
unfortunately,
and
the unthinkable has happened.
Division Bravo, what
We've
tack
lost
are they
two
on?
schools. Two schools, elementary schools serving providing educational services to over 700 students in the Palisades area have been completely destroyed. We're talking about Marquez Elementary and Palisades Elementary. 30% of Palisades High Charter School was destroyed. We were on site and could not believe what we were witnessing. We are prepared to relocate those students to provide a continuation of their educational services and restore normalcy to those families and those communities. Unas palabras en español. Me siento muy agradecido al liderazgo de nuestra alcaldesa, la señora Bass, y al liderazgo.
All right, we were just learning some new information from Superintendent of LAUSD, Alberto Carvalho. Again, the entire district, LAUSD, will be closed tomorrow, Thursday. He says they will reevaluate for Friday school, but also reporting that they did lose 2 schools in the Palisades fire. That's Marquez and Palisades Elementary Schools. Those schools, which served more than 700 students, have been destroyed. And then also 30% of the Palisades Charter High School was destroyed. Not entirely, but 30% is still alive.
Yeah, last night around 2 o'clock in the morning, we had Nick Melvoin from the LAUSD School Board, who represents that area, on with me, and he talked about the fact that Pali Elementary had just celebrated its 100th birthday this year, that was one of the best schools in the district, and they had a big celebration there, and now to think that it is a complete loss after 100 historic years there is just awful. Good news that it sounds like the high school, at least 70% of it is still standing, but when we were looking at Pali Elementary last night, Christy Fajardo was there in front of it, and it looked like it was a complete loss, and in fact that's what it is. This fire technically that we're looking at here in the Hollywood Hills, supposedly 10 acres, but it looked way bigger than 10 acres, as we now a different region of Southern California that has not been involved in this fire.
Branch 10 Palisades Communication, I have you loud and clear.
Pretty nervous right now.
Yeah, LAFD is on the lead agency, and the chief is talking about it, Kristen Crowley.
Communication will be taking over.
Sources at it as we speak. I am seeing active water drops as we speak. As we have more information, we'll disseminate this to all of you.
Branch 7,
but I'm going to go ahead and excuse myself so we can go ahead and start to strategize and move towards mitigating this additional major emergency in the city. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Chief, very much for that information and for your cooperation. And I just have to say that Los Angeles, as a region, as a county, as a city, we will get through this. We will stay together. We will be strong. We will make it through these next several days, and then we will begin the recovery period. And let me just say that the reason I'm so confident in that is, one, because of my faith in Angelenos, period, but also because of the leadership that is here. You see every level of government working together, as you have on several occasions over the last couple of years. And I think, I just remember 2 years ago when we were here for a first ever weather event in Los Angeles, a potential hurricane. And I think we all understand in our city that due to climate change, we're going to continue to see very unusual weather events. And this is a historic event considering the strength of the winds. I also want to acknowledge that we're joined here by the head of the firefighter union, United Firefighters of Los Angeles City, Freddie Escobar. Thank you, and please give our regards to the men and women
Communications, Branch 1, go ahead.
who have kept us safe and who have saved lives.
Branch 1, Palisades Communications will be taking over all comms for the fire.
Oh, by the way, let me acknowledge, too, that we have a number
Branch 1 copies.
Who are general managers of various departments.
Division Alpha, Palisades Communications.
Dog was in the apartment. We were going to break the door down.
Branch 1, Heavy Equipment 1, on command.
Branch 1, Heavy Equipment 1 on command.
Division Charlie, Palisades Communications.
Pilot Communications, Branch 1, I'll advise all resources that you're now receiving all communications.
Palisades Communications copies. Thank you.
Palisades Communications from LA City Heavy Equipment 1.
Go for Palisades Communications.
Yeah, notifying you that I was put into a contingency branch, but we've been working with the dozers on the east flank in Division Alpha. All the dozers are accounted for and off the line for the PM, be on the day shift for tomorrow.
LA City Heavy Equipment 1, we copy off the line. 1759 hours.
Charlie from 717 on command. Go for 80 Charlie. Yeah, 80 Charlie, if you're still at the command post, can you pick up 12 more lunches? Lunches or dinners? Dinners if you have them. All I got was sack lunches when we went back there earlier. But now I'm being told we're missing 12. Copy. We've left, but I'll work it out for you. Okay, I copy that. Thank you.
Unit calling for meals at the food unit at base.
Yeah, kid, that's Battalion 717 working over in the Division Zulu.
Yeah, if you can't, go ahead and call me on my cell. Just get it, and then I can line you out with some food.
Yeah, kid, I got no cell service up here, but we're off Palisades Drive, and we can go ahead and meet you by the water tenders over there if that works. It's right off Sunset.
Sunset to Palisades Drive. Stand by.
Julia from 1041.
Hey, what's your designator and your channel?
Battalion 717. Count is going to be 12. It's going to be for Task Force 1046.
And you want them at Palisades Drive and Sunset?
Let's make it at Fire Station 23 and make it easy. And you can be there in 15 minutes.
Copy that, Chief. Total number?
12.
Route, or someone will be en route in about 10 minutes. 5-10 minutes.
Copy that. Palisades from MFC.
Palisades Communications from MFC.
Go for Palisades.
Palisades Communication. We're requesting if you have 2 of the night air helicopters available for an additional brush fire, Hollywood Hills.
Copy, night air helicopters for additional brush fire, Hollywood Hills. Do you have your GPS? Operations, Palisade Communications.
Operations, good.
And you copy the traffic about night air operations. Do you have that capability?
Broken. I'm heard transmission about night air, possible New Star Hollywood Hills.
That's affirmative. We have a request for 2 night air capable for the Hollywood Hills.
Copy. Palisades, I see that additional fire said solar at ASS on the top of Runyon Canyon, incident 2526.
Talk about this. See?
You're right. We are seeing Alpha operate, and I'm running out of things to say. I know. I feel like I'm getting tired.
Are providing at this time. We have crews and people on the ground all up in these communities working to get people out. But this is not a drill. This is an actual emergency.
Division Papa, 9240 Charlie on V1.
Go for Papa.
Yeah, that was me hailing you earlier. Hopefully it's a little clearer now. Is there any way we could meet up?
Yeah, I'm at Duke's right now. Come over to Duke's in regards to feeding for the night.
It's on us. We're going to have to do it soon here.
Copy, I'll be en route from the original ICP.
find
Yeah, show me his bathroom.
oh, how much? Shake this. Don't walk over here.
Oh, maybe I'll stand the green.
Yeah, stand the green. Like a kitty.
Just say your prayers and hope that your home will be okay. We do know that we have all these resources available. Oh, is that bad?
Yep. Yeah. It's making a run.
Oh, wow.
Dog was in the apartment. We were going to break the door down. Yeah.
Communications, night operations.
Night operations from Palisades Communications, go ahead.
Night operations, assume the fire.
Palisades Communications copies, night ops, assume the fire. Communications clear, 1812.
Palisades Communication Division pop-up priority traffic.
Division pop-up from Palisades Communications, go ahead.
You know, in my head, I'm kind of going through a Rolodex of who do I know in those areas. You know, I have 3
Palisades
nieces
Communication
who live in the
Division
city,
pop-up with a line emergency.
you know, I just want to make sure that everybody is
50-year-old male,
paying attention and alert
50-year-old
and
male,
listening and following
dislocated
directions
shoulder,
when they need to go. And you know,
off
as I
of
said at the
engine
beginning,
70.
I really didn't think I was going to be coming
Point
back
of
here
contact will
and
be
seeing this
engine
again,
70.
but here we are.
Address will be 20858 Pacific Coast Highway. I'd like to request 1 ALF squad, 1 ALF ambulance.
That's the case. They would have been burned to the ground already, which they probably are, unfortunately, but these are new homes. Or this is like a new set of homes that have actually started to burn.
Division pop-up from...
And so very unusual.
That's right. You know, we came
Communications,
from...
we copy. You have a 50-year-old male with a dislocated shoulder off engine 70.
You know, I was talking to someone
You're
earlier
requesting
today
a paramedic resource ambulance and squad. Address of 20858 Pacific Coast Highway.
These are new houses. These are the few that remained, frankly, from last night's devastation.
Palisades
and now they're being taken in this evening.
That's affirmative. Additionally,
I mean, it's so ferocious.
we have resources that on-sited a motorcycle down
you can adequately understand how intense
Pacific Coast Highway
it is and how terrifying
across
it is.
of LA County Fire Station 70.
You know, just
Best address will be 21016. I'd like to request a non-incident response as well as that. It'll be a non-incident related traffic
so unfortunate to see, and you know, we've heard so much information about the wind. Still red flag warnings, of course, but subsiding
Communication
somewhat,
copies.
at least
You also
so
have
we
an
can get some
additional
air
motorcycle down
to fight
at
these fires
PCH
from above,
across
which
of
is
LA
so
County Fire
desperately
Station
needed.
70.
To see something like this.
Address is
You know, we still have to hold on to hope, but
Pacific
it
Coast
is,
Highway.
you know,
And you're requesting a non-incident response.
Discouraging, but I did talk to some locals who said they are holding on to hope. And even in the face of enormous loss, they are taking solace and they have a lot of gratitude for the community that is sustaining each other through this. You know, in the last few hours, in the last 24 hours, they've seen their community come together. People staying
43 operations
and offering food and of course water and anything they can do and just offering kind words and to anyone who needs it and any help whatsoever that people need. People are ready to give it, and that's always encouraging to see at times like this.
Well, you're right about that. You have to find the encouragement in the face of adversity, and we are seeing
RA-43 operations on command.
That just about all of us here know someone. If we're not impacted, then we know someone or family who has been impacted or could be impacted from these fires. And as you know, you've been listening to us talk about this fire that's burning now near Runyon Canyon, and that presents another problem. So we're going to break away from your live shot for a moment and get back to that fire with the latest update from Mike Rogers at the desk.
Yeah, you know, we're continuing to monitor the fire, as you mentioned, Pat, in Runyon Canyon. I can tell you there are a lot of resources on there. Oliver just put up the map tracker for us so that you can see exactly where this is burning right now. And you see Runyon Canyon Road, that's on the eastern side of the fire. Now, Curson Avenue, that is, and I'll go to the left for me. Curson Avenue is what I want to show people because that is kind of the entrance to Runyon right there. So you see it right there, and that's kind of how you get up to Runyon. So Nichols Canyon Road is to the left there. Now, Ollie, pull out for me because I want to give everybody the perspective based on what the evacuations are. So Laurel Canyon, which is even further to the left, is where the western edge of the evacuation
Palisades Communication Division Papa.
But I want you to see that the fire
Task
is
Force
still
43
a pretty decent
will
distance.
be the point of contact for the motorcycle down.
In the shot there. And
Task
I'll show you
Force
here because I
42
want to show you how
will be the
kind
point of
distant away.
contact
See,
for the
Laurel
line
Canyon is
emergency.
right up there. See it on the left?
Yes.
So it is a good chunk of land away from where this fire is. And there you've got Sunset, off of
Communication
Laurel and
copy.
Hollywood and
Task Force
Fairfax.
43 is going to be the
We've
point
got
of
a good
contact
distance
for the
between where
motorcycle
it gets
down,
very populated,
and Task
even though
Force
I'm sure the
42
flames
is going to be
are
for
just
the line
massive to see
emergency.
there. Ollie, go back to the right. I want to show everybody the 101 freeway because I want to show you the border of the evacuation zone to the right side of the screen to the east, and you'll see Oliver pans out, and there's the 101 as it pushes through. So yes, the evacuation zone is very large, but in comparison to what the footprint of this fire is right now, there's a lot of distance. So we'll go back in tight on the fire now, Ollie, and I want to show people that it is pushing to the south. That's the way it is burning right now. It is using the land and the topography to kind of push down to the south of the fire, and you'll see that. And that's what we talked about, Pat. It doesn't look like it's been growing any significant size at all, but you can see that it is just kind of pushing down in the topography. And as I mentioned, we've got 2 full-blown responses on this, both from LA City Fire and LA County Fire, that are both working this fire with a number of water-dropping helicopters from both agencies. They are doing incredible work to try to get this under control, and we've got a lot of people on the ground as well. So Vista Street, Curson Avenue, those are the nearest neighborhoods that will be impacted by this to the south. So if you are in that evacuation warning, if you're in the evacuation area, you should go. However, I want to let you know that the most critical area for this is the southern end of the evacuation warning, and that is the people that are on Hollywood Boulevard to the north of Hollywood Boulevard in the area of Vista, Curson, and those streets right there. That is the area that the fire seems to be pushing. That is where we've been watching it as it moves to the south. There you see Hollywood Boulevard.
Rescue 43 and Rescue 68.
Franklin, even north of
ETA
Franklin.
returning back to base.
Run right up into Runyon Canyon. So, you know, the way the fire's been moving and the amount of resources they have on it, there's a very good chance that they will be able to stop this before it gets into those neighborhoods. That is certainly the hope, but that is where we're at right now.
Okay, and Mike, as we say that, still, if there are mandatory evacuation orders, then just go.
Right, just go. And it's a lot of people, and if there's anything we've learned over the last 2 days, you should go. If you're in that mandatory evacuation zone, I can tell you personally, I'm on the outer edge of this evacuation zone. I'm watching this very closely. My home is not under an evacuation zone right now, but if you are in that evacuation zone, you should get out and go.
Do you know if the sheriff's deputies are on the ground telling people?
It's a mix because this is a multi-jurisdictional here. There's a little bit of county and a little bit of city. So I do know LAPD. I've seen them in there. The other thing about this area where Runyon is it's full of park rangers. So park rangers are also going through and getting people out. LAPD, I've seen them down there doing that work as well, and they'll do that in the foothill neighborhood of that mountain too.
Okay. Well, I know I can hear Evelyn on the phone back there, but Evelyn knows this area very well.
I do.
Well. Are you ready to talk?
I'm ready to go. Yep. Just trying to get a few family members.
Franklin comms, LA County Field comm. Correction, Palisade comms.
And I will tell you that, as Mike was just saying, it is moving toward.
Go ahead for communication.
At the moment. So again, moving toward West.
Who's the point of contact for the motorcycle down?
You're looking at Nichols Canyon. That's the view that we're seeing right there. There's Nichols Canyon Road that winds from Hollywood all the way to Laurel Canyon.
Oh, correction.
So
the point of contact is going to be Task Force 43.
Top of Runyon where the fire broke out, closer to Woodrow Wilson and Mulholland. And then you've got the bottom of Runyon, and that's where the fire is headed right now. And that's close to Waddles. There's Waddles Park there, beautiful park. Spend a lot of time there. And I will tell you, that's what we're looking at. You can see the water dropping helicopter right now.
Night operation.
Over the area, over Curson, and over, again, this is lower Runyon. So this is going to Waddles, to the park right there. And
let me know when you're ready to come.
Stanley. There you have it. So this is moving toward West Hollywood at the moment. Winds coming out of the northeast, and I was just looking at current wind speeds all across
emergency relief for
the fire weather
strike team 1880 Charlie. They're out of Branch 10 Yankee Zulu.
Right now, and we're looking at
and then a second request for LA Fire Task Force 1012, currently on Charlie Foxtrot and Branch 1. Both of those resources need to report to Runyon Canyon on their local frequency for a new fire.
Wind. We don't want to downplay the fact that we are still looking at wind out there in the area.
There's 1880 Charlie on Branch 10 and 1012 Task Force on Branch 1.
And that kind of connects up near Runyon as well, where the bottom.
Yeah, that's correct.
We've also got
1880 Charlie and then Task Force 1012.
Astral, Willow
Copy,
Glen,
break.
the other side of Laurel Canyon Boulevard.
Branch 10 operations.
Flying right near there, and that again connects into Nichols. So this is the road from Runyon
the traffic, 1880 Charlie, immediate release, back to their local dispatch.
Into West Hollywood along Hollywood Boulevard there and Stanley as well.
Copy, 1880.
So Curse on Stanley, Waddles, Nichols Canyon.
Branch 1, operations.
At the moment. So that's where the fire is headed as we get a
Operations, Branch 1, copies all.
That's coming in, pushing
10-12 task force.
down the hill on the West Hollywood
Affirmative.
side of Laurel Canyon, not the valley side, but the city side. And again, current wind speeds at about 20 miles per hour. But remember, on the ridge tops, it's a completely different story there. That's where fire.
Strike team 1880 Charlie, Branch 10 on command.
Enough. We see updrafts and
V1.
downdrafts, but not strong enough to halt, of course, aircraft. And that's good news because we're still looking at water dropping helicopters across most of Southern California tonight. We are thankful that we can continue to fly, that the fire department can continue to fly. And I do want to remind you that we are looking at red flag warnings through Friday. So even
Branch 1, Branch 10 on command.
Fires can still break out. We've been keeping eyes on the Palisades, on Eaton Canyon, on the high desert tonight. But here we go. At any moment, really, any fire could break out anywhere. And this last one breaking out in Hollywood Hills not too long ago. So here's Waddles again, the lower part of Nichols Canyon. That's where the fire is headed, from the top of Nichols down to the bottom. So it is a residential community there, and of course we've got lots of hiking trails in the area.
Branch 1, Branch 10
at the
on
bottom,
command.
of course, of Runyon. So we're going to continue to keep eyes. We're keeping eyes on the forecast, but again, 20-mile-per-hour wind speeds right now. Dry conditions in the teens. It could be drier. It could be windier. So of course it could be worse, but it certainly could be a lot better. So we're going to continue to keep eyes. But for now, Pat, I'll send it back to you.
Okay, F. Yeah, I know you've been checking on your family members, and I think I can say
Operations from
Mike Rogers
Palisades Communications
went home to see
Operations
about his
good.
dog.
Yeah.
He is efforting to make it back here, and on the phone.
Operations,
right now
we have
is
an
Chris
IWI.
Holmstrom. He
Did you
has
copy
been
it?
evacuated from Hollywood Hills. Chris, are you there?
Hey, Pat.
Hey,
Oh,
honey.
what a nightmare out here. I've been watching. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I'm driving right now over on Franklin and La Brea, and within 30 minutes we were watching that press conference. All of a sudden we started smelling the smoke coming from Runyon Canyon. As you know, this is a place where so many people go. We packed our dog. We had our family that was here with their dogs because they got evacuated.
Yeah, operations copies on Division Popper, correct?
It is a standstill out here. I know resources are limited.
Operations from communications, that is correct.
If you
We
know
have a
this
line
area,
emergency and
it's
also
very
a
dense. There are so many
motorcycle down
apartment
that's not
buildings that are
related. Did you get that info too?
It's literally.
Copy that. I have not got a positive response from
It's pretty chaotic.
Rescue 43 yet.
Chris, do you see any law enforcement in sight directing traffic, telling people where to go, or are you just kind of on your own?
Communication copies. Are you also handling the
kind of on their own. If I'm running by
motorcycle down?
families, if I see kids, I'm asking them if they need help. People seem to be helping out as much as they can, but everyone's also trying to get out of
Yeah, I'm heading that way. You can also get law enforcement started that.
Keeps going down and starts hitting those homes. It's going to be, everyone's going to be trapped out.
Communication
there,
copies.
and that's the scary situation. But when you don't have those resources, it makes
Branch 5 up. Branch 10 Yankee Zulu.
chaotic. So people are kind of just going the best that they can.
Now, we're
Branch
looking
10.
at some more water drop.
I made positive contact with 1880 Charlie on cell. They're advised of the emergency debuff.
News right now. And I'm sure you can hear.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You hear a lot of commotion. Do you hear the choppers in the air?
I hear a lot of
Branch 5 operations.
The intersection of Franklin and La Brea. If I look to my left, I could see the hillside on fire with all the
Branch 5
of cars. Like that's how close it is to this spot. And
yeah, can you make contact with Rescue Ambulance 43 for the IWI on Papa? Unable to get them on the radio.
Like the Hollywood Hills area, and sure enough, went outside and saw those choppers. So I'm hoping they can contain it to where it's at right now, so all these people can get out, because there's a lot of old people that live
Confirm you
here
want Branch
in
5 or
the
Branch
area,
7?
the Hollywood Hills area that are in their apartment, and I just hope and pray that they get the help that they need.
Just trying to get a hold of the ambulance over there. It's Will Rogers.
Now, Chris,
coming in.
Yeah, I copy that. This is staging.
The press conference, is that right? It's not as.
I copy. Repeat the identifier again, please.
I was watching the press
You can
conference,
call for
looking
another
outside,
field
and
ambulance.
I'm like, sure enough, there it is. My neighbors were calling me, freaking out, saying they're evacuating.
From staging operations.
My partner Josh ran back up, and he's like,
The address will be 20858 Pacific Coast Highway.
Families with us, they were evacuated as well. We have 4
Stand by.
heading to, I'm trying to figure out where we're going to go right now to make sure we're in safety. But traffic is moving slowly, but hopefully it keeps on going. There's a lot of people here.
I was going to ask you, do you have a place to go? Do you have
Branch 5, what was the designator you want me to try to relay for?
To Glendale right now. I know
Branch 5, stand by. Staging is picking it up.
But I have several friends and family here that have offered us a place to stay. So once we get out of this commotion and chaos, I think we'll have to reevaluate where our next place is going to go if those spots don't.
Go for the ambulance dispatch, please.
Listen, you report about other people, and I just feel for everyone all day long, and what everyone's going through. It just breaks my heart.
I know.
Staging, repeat your traffic.
To talk about, but we have to be.
Repeat the address and disposition of the person.
I try to tell people that even we have our own folk.
You're badly broken.
Impacted, and I didn't expect to hear from you today, Chris. And this is an area that we didn't expect to hear to be impacted either, because we hadn't talked about this yesterday.
That's why
how do you copy this staging request?
Oh, we're good. And I'm like, we have a lot
I got you loud and clear now.
in the Runyon Canyon area. As we know, we've been talking about this.
Go with the address and the patient disposition, please.
One step at a time, because one fire can spark that quickly.
Address 20858 Pacific Coast Highway. 50-year-old male, shoulder injury.
The wind has died down in this particular area, so that is something good, and hopefully that makes it easier for fire crews up in the air. That it's not like it was this morning.
Well, I'm so glad that we are able to
division and the
attack. Right now, Chris, we can say that this fire is at 20 acres.
Going to be on Division Papa.
This is something.
Engine 70.
10 minutes ago? I think we've been on it for
maybe I want to say like 30 minutes ago. I'm not exactly sure. It's
and tackle BV 566.
Is this a firefighter or
I
civilian?
Hope everyone gets out, and if they know people in the area, there are fire crews, so that's a good thing to see, and at least up in the sky.
All right, and at least you're able to maneuver. I know you said it's almost at a standstill.
Division Papa from Task Force 23. I'm on scene with Engine 70. Is a 50-year-old male firefighter, low distress level green, low priority. We'll be able to handle with squad and ambulance,
because we're going to be thinking about
ground
you.
transport.
We're looking at shots, I'm sure, from Oliver right now of the traffic on the ground. You could be in some of that.
In with Mike Rogers.
Division Papa operations confirming the ambulance is at scene.
To get his dog and get out. So
yeah,
that's negative. No squad or actually stand by. No ambulance or squad on scene yet.
Thank you so much. Love you and be well.
I love you, Pat. I love everyone, and everyone be safe out there. We'll be good.
Rescue 6-8 or Rescue 4-3. Are you back available?
News reporter Gio Insignaris.
To the base camp.
Okay.
Rescue 4-3 or Rescue 6-8.
Live in Altadena.
Sorry about that, Pat. Yeah, we've been having some spotty cell service throughout the evening so far, so I had you on the two-way radio here because things have been going in and out when it comes to calls, when it comes to conversations, even sending emails has been difficult, but we want to show you this fire behind us right now because this is just a slice of the devastation here in Altadena. You've seen it from sunrise all the way till now. This home, from the moment we pulled up, I want to say about 20 minutes ago or so, has just been engulfed in flames, the embers sparking all the way up into the sky, the smoke and some of those embers getting down to us here as well. I mean, like we mentioned, it's just
Division Yankee Zulu 9440 Charlie on command.
We've seen. I mean, earlier when we got here just before sunset, there was a home about a similar size or so raging in fire, and you see the crews here. There's one fire engine, LA County fire engine here off to the side, and you see crews sort of doing their best to douse these flames out here. We saw one similarly engulfed house earlier, and then the roof the whole thing just collapsed in front of us, and you had a bunch of people taking photos, taking videos. We ran into someone who said that they lived in Downey and wanted to come up here just to see what was going on, and then others we ran into who were trying to check in on their friends and their families. And with that, I want to take you to some video that we shot earlier from that moment that we're talking about. And this was a house where this man told us, Henry was his name, he said that he bought it
1880 Charlie from 8140 on command.
I thought, I'll go to sleep, everything will be fine. And then next thing he knew, the very next morning, he was getting told by friends, hey, the evacuation orders, they're right there for you. You got to go. And
Chief,
then he
you
just
copy
packed
the
up his stuff.
message
It was just
that they're
him,
looking to
and then
emergency
he went
demobilize
with
and
his
send it to Runyon
friends,
Canyon?
to Glendale, who he's been staying with at the time. Take a listen to him when we asked him. I mean,
Yeah,
how
affirm.
are
I
you
sent the
handling
message
all
out.
of this? And
All 1880 Charlie
admit, to my
companies
surprise a little bit, he
report
seems
to
be
Will
taking it
Rogers
pretty
State
well.
Beach.
You know, to me, it's a house. I'm not emotionally tied.
Yeah, copy that, Chief. I don't know if everybody has comms on that.
Things. To me, it's just things.
Yeah, 8139 is assisting with relaying the message up top. Copy that.
Task Force 43 from Squad 172 on V1 direct. On V1.
I have two different addresses. Repeat the address, 20858 and the street.
Task Force 43 for Squad 172.
Hey, can you repeat the address for the 50-year-old shoulder injury for the ambulance incident?
Staging operations, 20858 Pacific Coast Highway.
Got it. Break.
Squad 88 copies en route. 20858 en route. Task Force 43 from Squad 172 on V1.
Squad 172, go ahead. Your point of contact is going to be engine 70.
Copy, Agent 70. Engine 70 from Squad 172.
Squad 172, Task Force 43 on command. You can also try V-Fire 26, might be easier for you. From 1880 Charlie, can you land line my cell?
So you think of all these people.
All right, as you see there, we were just listening into Fox LA's coverage of multiple fires. This specifically, they were just visiting a shelter there as well, talking about some of those folks who did need to be evacuated from that area. Do want to show you before we head to break another overview of the newest fire that is now burning in Southern California, major fire, I should say, dubbed the Sunset Fire right there in the Hollywood Hills. You can see they are now getting aerial support to try to put out those flames. Did want to give you that before we head to a 2-minute break, but stay right here with us.
sugarcoat something. You just got to go and you got to do it together. And all these conversations that we've had, that we've both been listening to, that you've been chatting with, and the ones we've been having out here in the field with so many people, it highlights that, it underlines it, it emphasizes so much of what you're trying to do to help each other, and hoping really in some cases that let's just do this now, and then we'll figure out the rest later. Whether that's you don't have a home to come back to, but at least you have your family and friends, because so much of the sadness comes from hearing those stories of those who who decided they didn't want to go and decided to stick back. And you certainly understand why they choose to do that, even if you wish and plead with every ounce of your body that they didn't have to do that. And it's one of the most terrifyingly empathetic situations you can put yourself in. And you're just hoping that that number is kept to as a low, as a minimum as possible, because it is stark, it is striking, and no matter how many times you see these situations, you report on these situations, no matter where you are, here or across the country.
Division Yankee Zulu, 9440 Charlie on command.
It does not dole down the significance of what you're dealing with, so you want to reiterate that point and know that
20 Charlie Yankee Zulu,
you're going to be able to get through it as long as you get through it with your close friends.
Can you switch over to V-Fire 22?
This is a saying that some
I'll try. I'm not sure. I'm coming back from fuel. I'll try it.
Serves us well in these kinds of circumstances. And
I copy. That was going to be my question for planning tomorrow.
Impacts your life.
What the closest fuel is going to be for the resources.
Day at a time. Day at a time.
Yeah, there's fuel down on PCH.
Thank you.
We'll have to reevaluate if Topanga Canyon is
everyone the best out there. We're taking another
passable.
Picture now that
if not,
Runyon Canyon,
about 20 minutes up the road, Mulholland.
Zone,
I'm sure we can find something there.
To the west, Mulholland to the north, 101 to the east, and Hollywood.
Copy. I was going to head out Mulholland at some point in the middle of the night and try and get a plan, but
our Chris Holmstrom has been impacted. He lives in that area. He had to evacuate.
Yeah, we can give it a whirl to see if we can make it back down to PCH again, but
check on a pet.
Yeah, if not, we're just going to have to be self-sufficient on the north side here.
That he will be back. But this is the situation.
Copy. Was Topanga Canyon not passable due to the fire, or was it because of the washouts we dealt with earlier?
I mean, water dropping helicopters on scene.
Yeah, talking to
at least 4.
Talking to some of the sheriffs, it sounded like some of the washouts got a little worse, and then there was fire blowing over the road. I just haven't been able to validate it.
That live in those evacuation areas that I told you
copy.
about.
I'll wait to hear more. Thanks.
Their homes and their belongings will be safe, and those that have left, hopefully, will be able to come back. But right now, we are still waiting on updates, but we can follow this fire by the conditions that we're under right now. And we know that what we have experienced over the last 2 days is a severe wind-driven event. KCAL meteorologist Evelyn Taft, you're tracking the conditions, and Evelyn, I know you're impacted by this area as well.
Absolutely, Pat. I'm trying to actually currently get my family out, and no reception, no power for the last 2 days, so that's certainly been a challenge. And of course, trying to get you guys the latest information. I was just on the phone with National Weather Service, our local office, trying to get our observations for the area, because there's actually not a lot of observation points that we usually use as far as fire goes in these areas. So right now I am getting 2 observation points somewhat near this fire, and I just want to tell you, generally speaking, I mean, let's start with temperatures, right? There's 3 recipes to fire: temperature, relative humidity, and then on top of that, wind. So we're looking at 13-mile-per-hour winds right now with gusts up to 25 miles per hour.
Evelyn?
Yes, Pat.
Evelyn, hold on 1 second. You know, I wouldn't interrupt you unless I had a very good reason to do that.
Yes.
And you're going to want to hear this too. We have Margaret Stewart from LA Fire on the phone with us again. And I say again because you were so gracious to talk to us last evening.
Yeah, I got Rescue 68 en route. They just showed up in that staging. So they will be in place of Rescue 837. They are en route, ETA about 5 minutes.
And we cannot emphasize enough.
Operation copy is Rescue 68, 5-minute ETA.
Mandatory evacuation, and I will describe the view. On the right to the east is the 101. North
Communication
to
also copies.
West to Laurel Canyon, south to Hollywood Boulevard. So that's the current mandatory evacuation zone. And if you go to lafd.org/news, you can click on the Sunset Fire link, and you'll be able to see the map. And to the west, so the evacuation zone will be in red. In yellow is the evacuation warning, and that goes slightly further south, I believe to Sunset, and it goes west and slightly north, primarily westerly direction, for quite a ways out towards Franklin Canyon. And so while we want immediate evacuation in the box I described, we also are asking people to evacuate early in the warning zone, because this has the potential to move quickly. As you were just discussing, winds are still in excess of 25 miles per hour. Fortunately, They're not nearly what we had last night, and our aircraft are making, they're able to make drops, and they can start knocking out the hot pockets in the large areas of fire. But this is a dangerous situation, and we want people to go now.
Ms. Stewart, are you confident with the resources that we have, the extra resources that we are having today, that, and I know you don't want to make a prediction, but you know, this is your area. Are you pretty confident that we can get this under control before it gets out of control?
We've got 27 fire companies that are already on scene. That's over 150 firefighters that are on scene for structure defense and to anchor this fire. And then combine that with our air assets that are making water drops. It's a well-orchestrated team. And now that we have the ability to fight on both fronts, from the air and from the ground, it gives us a much better position to be able to stop this fire.
And I know this is the work of law enforcement when it has to do with people being evacuated, but do you have any updates on that? Is there an organized effort as to where people should go? Are you privy to that information right now?
Yeah, so our law enforcement partners, LAPD, and potentially the sheriff's deputies may be assisting them, will handle the hands-on evacuation, and Parks and Recs are preparing evacuation centers. It takes a minute to get those ready, so they're not open yet. So right now we just want people to get south and get out of the area, and as soon as we have those evacuation centers up and running and staffed, we will get that information out. Is
there a website that you could give me now, Ms. Stewart, that when the information is ready, you can... Okay.
LAFD.org/news, and you'll actually see a page for each of the fires. You'll see the Hearst fire, the Palisades fire, and the Sunset fire. Each have a link, and they each have their own map that shows the evacuation zones and all of the current information.
Can you say right now that this fire that we're looking at is a result of some of the other fires that have been burning? It seems to be pretty far away from the Eaton.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it's not. I would say that's not likely because the distance and the winds obviously aren't what they were earlier in the day and last night. But right now we just don't know. Right now our focus is life and property.
Okay, and can you tell us about any other areas that you're involved in right now? LA Fire, can you give us an update? Do you have any new information? Since I have you on the phone.
We gave, we had a press conference, a little while ago regarding the Palisades fire, so any new information was provided there. There's no update on that. The Hearst fire has been held at the same 700 acres. It's not contained yet, which means having fire lines around the fire, but it has not grown, and we've had no injuries at the Hearst fire. So those are our three incidents.
Okay, Ms. Stewart, we really appreciate you speaking with us again this evening, and we certainly wish you well through all of this, and we will hopefully be able to speak with you again.
Sure.
All right,
thank you.
And thank you very much. All right, Evelyn, I hope you were listening to what Margaret Stewart had to say from LA Fire.
Yes, no, we appreciate her
Julia,
joining us
Branch
and all
5
the
on
information.
command.
It's so critical right now, and so many people listening, Pat, including myself and my family, who I had to bring down here because we are also currently under these evacuation orders. So I will tell you right now, we are getting a look at current conditions, and I want to talk weather with you because there's a couple weather stations that we're looking at in the area, and we are looking at wind gusts at about 25 miles per hour. So that's significant. I mean, look, it's not where we were last night. It's not where we were early this morning, but that's still gusty enough to push this fire toward West Hollywood, which is the direction it is currently headed. You could see the smoke heading down the ridge tops. Of course, on the ridge lines, it could get gustier as winds start to pick up because weather does start creating its own forecast where we see updraft and downdraft winds, really sometimes creating, again, gustier situations than the ones initially on hand. We are looking at water dropping helicopters at the moment as well.
Palisades Communication Division, Papa.
Because of course we were looking at quite a bit of wind where you couldn't fly in those conditions. So at least
Division, Papa from Communications, go ahead.
Currently fly and drop, of course, water over the fire at the moment.
Palisades Communication Division, Papa. Talking with Task Force 43. Still have no ambulance on scene for the line emergency.
There's a recipe. There's 3 ingredients. Ingredient 1 is, of course, the temperature. So we're not looking at warm numbers, so that's good news. Ingredient 2 is relative humidity. So right now we're looking at a combination relative humidity in the area between 8 and 11%. So it's, give or take, we would say about 9–10% at the most, which is extremely low. And we're looking at gusts at 15 miles per hour, again, between 15 and 20.
Operations from
so
communications.
It's a combination of the relative humidity, of the wind,
Operations, go ahead.
And at this point, relative humidity not working in our favor, wind not
Did
working
you hear the
in our
traffic
favor,
division
again,
Papa
it
states
was
that
gusty, but that doesn't discount the fact that
per
we're still
Task Force
looking
43,
at
there's
20
no
plus
ambulance
mile
on
per hour
scene
wind
yet.
area, and that is fast enough to carry those flames.
They were delayed. It should be rescue ambulance 68.
Heading toward the city
Approximately,
side
probably right about now, should be arriving.
From that perspective, Nichols Canyon, Runyon Canyon. So now heading toward the bottom
Communications
of Runyon
copies.
Canyon. Even
Break.
though the fire did break out
Division
at the
Papa
top
from
of
communications.
Runyon
Did you hear?
near Solar Drive not too long ago. So it is a very fast-moving fire.
Communications Division Papa copies. I'll relay that. Task Force 43.
Hour or so, maybe a little before that. So at this point, again,
Communications clear,
gridlocked in West Hollywood. We've been looking at quite a bit of traffic. We're looking at the chopper flying overhead, water dropping aircraft. Good news for us tonight. Now, I do want to get a look at your futurecast, and I am looking at wind speeds as we move into the night, because that's the big question. Will these winds get calmer? And technically speaking, yes, they're already there. They've already laid down a lot compared to where we were earlier this morning. But as we get a look at that futurecast, I do want to tell you, as we head into the overnight hours, again, tonight being Wednesday into our Thursday, we could see the winds pick up a little bit. We are expecting more wind, though, really starting to head our direction by the time we head into tomorrow night. So in the meantime, we are looking at winds picking up over the next few hours. 20-mile-per-hour winds in the Hollywood Hills area. Of course, we're continuing to watch Eaton and the Palisades and the high desert as well, where we could get isolated wind gusts up to 40, 50, even 60 miles per hour as we head into the overnight hours. By 3 a.m., 4 a.m., I'm forecasting really quite a bit of wind in those areas. Again, this includes the Santa Monica Mountains. This includes, of course, the San Gabriels. And as we move into Ventura County and Orange County, of course, fire could break out at any time, so we're keeping eyes on all communities. As we move into the early morning hours, I'm inching just a little bit into the 6 a.m. hour, the 7 a.m. hour. We're still looking at quite a bit of wind in the higher elevations. You'll see right there, that purple on your screen. By late morning, we're still contending with 20 to 30 to 40 mile per hour winds, even 50 mile per hour winds.